Hey everyone, my name is Tander Pittman, and I want to tell you a story about my two handsome boys named Zaire and Zane. They tell me things about God and what God plans. Here we go. One day I was on the phone with my grandmother, and we was talking about a lot of stuff. You know, um, we hung up the phone together. We said goodnight to each other, and one time it was raining. It was thunder. It was raining. It was raining and thundering and stuff. So my son Zaire, he yelled out and said, "God, God, God." And you know me, I'm saying yes, God, God. So they both saying God right for this. They both saying God. So when when it was time to go to bed and stuff in the morning time, I was smoking some weed and my kids was excited. Like when I tell you they was excited. Like they eyes lit up and they was smiling. So you know me, when I get high, I like to clean, I like to do things. So when I was in the kitchen, my son came in the kitchen with me. He was whining and stuff, so I thought he wanted a snack, so cause he went straight to the cabinet. So I put him on the top of the cabinet so he can, and I opened the drawer for him so he can get a snack. That's not what he wanted. So he closed the cabinet back and he went straight to my microwave and opened it and handed me my glass plate that was in the microwave. You know me, I'm thinking them to my head like, how do you know what's in the microwave? Like, how do you know that it needs to be cleaned? You know. So I'm doing the dishes. Boom, and he went. So the dude he went back in his room. So I'm like, oh, okay, kind of weird. Um, my kids they started to wipe the walls down. Like they see me clean and they started to wipe the walls down and stuff like that. So I goes in a room. I'm done cleaning my kitchen. So I goes in a room and I'm telling my son, um, I'm like, ooh, look at the rainbow. They like, they shaking their head like, no, that's not what it is. So my son said it was heaven. So I'm like, I smiled at him. I'm like, okay, that's heaven. And he shook his head like, yes. So at this point, I'm asking both of them, like, so do you know what God look like? My son is shaking his head. He's shaking his head, yes, I know what God looked like. So I'm like, have you been to heaven before? He said he shakes his head and said yes. They both shook their head and they said yes. So, me, at this point, next day, at this point, things started to, you know, happen and stuff. So, I was listening to music out loud, but I wanted to listen low, but I wanted to actually listen to my ear. So I'm asking to myself, like, where's my headphones at? Where my headphones at? So my son, he comes to me and he hand me my headphones. And he say, sorry, mommy. Sorry, mommy. And I'm in my head like, what you sorry for? Like, what you sorry for? You ain't do nothing. You know? Um, like I used to be depressed. My son, he showed me what God looked like. And he told me that God was white and he got brown hair, long brown hair, brown beard, some sandals. I'm just asking questions and they shaking their head, yeah. So, um, so, one time I used to be so depressed, and I used to do this I just used to do this reading thing, like, like the card reading and stuff, like the psychic and stuff. So when I had my son on my thigh, my son pointed to my phone and said, "That's devil, devil, devil." So I put my phone down. Whatever, and my other son, he's on the ground right now, and he just, he's banging on the ground basically, and he's basically saying, "Yeah, mommy figured it out." Cause me, I'm like, okay, y'all tell my future, you feel me? So they shaking their head like, yeah, yeah, mommy, yeah. So I'm happy and I'm excited, yeah. So one time, my son's my son, he tells me, like, he tell me that he was gay, and he's 2 years old, like, no cap. He say, "Mommy, I'm gay, I'm gay." So I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, crying, and I'm holding him, I'm just crying, and I'm holding him, like. And just the crazy thing about it is, like, I watch my kids, like, when they in a tub, like, he would play with his toys, and he would wrap his toys up. Like, he would act like his towel is a blanket, and he would wrap his toys up. So I'm just in my head like, okay, I know it already, baby. Just cause his pictures. Every time I take pictures, he will always do a little kissy face, like a little kissy face. So and I told him that I love you regardless. I don't care. Like, I will love you regardless. So I move in my new apartment, and I move in my new apartment. I go to church and stuff, and I go to church. I go to church and stuff. So I had went to this church, and then like the coronavirus. Now you have to reserve church before you go. Before you go there, like before you. But I didn't know that. So I goes inside the church. So the man was like, well, he put me in the basement. He's like, we waiting for our other members to come to see how much people gonna come, and then you will be let up. But in my head, I'm like, this nigga lying, because first of all, it's coronavirus. Ain't nobody coming to church. And you just do that because I'm black. So, he finally let me upstairs, because he realized that was nobody really coming, and I know that was nobody else was coming. So, I got a vibe, and I just got a vibe, like, so yeah, this church not for me, this church not for me. So, when when the service was over, I went home, my kids, they ran. My son Zane, he ran down the hall, because I live in an apartment. He ran down the hall, and he said bye. He has a window in the hallway, and he ran down there by the window, and he sat on a vent. So, and he said church. He said church. And I did smile to my head, like, I just smiled like, yeah, church. So me, while I'm looking out the window, it's a church right there. So basically my son was telling me, like, "Mom, go to that church." So next Sunday comes, the church started at 10. I went there, I like left the house, because I live across the street from the church. So I probably left the house at like 9:55, and the church opened at 10. So I just sitting on the bench, so the church gonna open. Church didn't open. I ain't see no cars yet. You ain't see no cars yet. So I'm like, I'm about to walk to a next. I'm about to walk to the nearest church I can find. And so I'm walking. And my other son, he's mad because I left that church. Like, but I had I was walking and stuff, and I walk. I was walking by the firefighters, and my God, my son stopped, and he said, "God, God." He kept saying, "God, God, God," just pointing at the firefighter thing. Kept saying, "God, God." So I'm like, you know me, I'm shaking my head like, yes, God, God, because kids see things. So I'm not gonna say stop saying that because you don't know what you're talking about, because kids is kids is they see things. So I went back to the church, and the church that I left from. I just sat on a bench for like maybe like 15-20 minutes. I went back home and stuff, and I was cleaning. Um, I was cleaning, and the TV was on, and the the Floyd thing about the police, whatever. So my son, he had pointed to the mask. Like, he pointed to the mask and said that the devil, devil. So me, I'm just asking questions. So I'm like, it's the devil time. It's the devil time. They shook their head like, yeah, mommy, it's the devil time. It's the devil time, mom. So me, I'm asking them, cause me, cause I'm just, I'm watching it with them. So I'm mad at the fact that, first of all, it's coronavirus. Why is y'all? I understand that Floyd then, something terrible happened to him, but it's coronavirus. We supposed to be in the house. You feel me? So, my kids shaking their head like, yeah, they shaking their head, they agreeing to me, they shaking their head. So, I'm asking them, I'm like, it's supposed to be virtual time. We supposed to be in the house to learn our kids, um, and stuff like that. Like, we supposed to be teachers to our kids. Like, everything is virtual now. Like, everything is virtual because everything virtual. So my kids, shaking their head like, yeah, mommy, shaking their head. So one day, I'm doing the dishes and the music playing, and one day I was watching a movie. And I was watching God Not Dead. Cause they was telling me things about God and stuff. So me, I'm agreeing to stuff. Cause I'm listening to them. Cause kids are teachers too. You gotta listen to kids. You just can't just shut them. You just can't shut their dreams down. You feel me? So I was watching God Not Dead, and one part of the movie was saying like, get out your phones and send a text out and say that God's not dead. So my son, he handed my phone to me, and he told me to catch him like on the couch. They both told me to catch him on the couch, and basically they wanted me to send out the text and say that and post it. So me, I posted and whatever. So my son was like, we gonna be witch, we gonna be witch, we gonna be witch. So me, I'm smiling, and I'm just like just smiling, and I'm like, we gonna be rich, just crying and holding them and hugging them and stuff. The next day, I'm in a room, and I'm just playing, I'm just playing, and I'm in a room, and my son, he's pointing out, and he say devil, the devil. So my head, like, I just, I turn my head because I'm thinking like, okay, the devil in this bitch, like the devil in this bitch. So yeah, like and like I was one day I was doing the dishes, and I had my son on the counter, and my son was just pulling out the little stove. I got an electric stove, so my son was just pulling the stove out, and he was handing it to me. He was handing it to me, so it's like, Mommy, you gotta do these too. Like, you feel me? My other son, the radio playing, the baby playing, and they was messing with the volume. And it was like some things he was saying, like he was from section something about section 8, and they like some things they wanted me to hear. They was turning it up, like about section 8 and shit. So they was turning it up, and they was like, we gonna be rich, we gonna be rich, we gonna be rich, me. So I'm smiling and stuff. I'm just smiling at them because I'm like, yeah, we gonna be rich. So maybe like a week later, I was smoking weed with my friend, and remember when I said the firefighters, they was pointing, my son was pointing at God. So he was saying God at the firefighter. So like a week later, I went to the hospital because I had I had an episode, a manic, MANIC, I guess, a manic episode, and my kids knew that. That's another thing too. Like, my kids know that it was something wrong with me, so they wanted me to call the police. So I called I called the police, whatever. Why I called them, something is really wrong with me. So when they arrived, both of my sons, they had brought one of their trucks, their cars downstairs. It was red too. Like, it was red too. And they was happy, and guess who came? It was the firefighters. It was the firefighter that came to me, and they was telling me like the police is is park control. Me. So the so the firefighters, they admitted me to the hospital. Like, they called the ambulance, and I had to wait before I go to the hospital because my sisters and them was coming to babysit. So I go to the hospital. I experience things at the hospital, like things that you wouldn't imagine. Like you see these my hands. So these are eyes right here. These right here, boom, boom, boom. These are eyes right here. These not eyes. This is not an eye. Like, when people like, let me read your, like, that's some devil shit. Like, these are eyes right here. Like, truly eyes. Like, and I was experiencing things at the hospital. It was like some good things. Like, I was saved. See, my son told me that. My son told me that I was saved on Memorial's Day. I was saved on Memorial Day. And when I went to the hospital, it was things. It was it's just it was things. Like, I can't explain it right now, but it was things. Like, it was this girl. It was like we was watching TV, whatever, and basically I'm at the psychic, like I ain't gonna say that they're crazy because you don't know what they going through. You feel me? So I just found out that I got bipolar, which I do. My kids telling my future. So, yeah, so, you know, when I was a little kid, um, I never believed in, I always used to be scared of Halloween, and my son, he showed me that Halloween is God Day. Like, this dude used to let me watch a movie. Like, he would watch something, like he would pick the movie out and it would be Halloween, and he would just sit on my back and just lean back and just just lean back and just let me watch it and stuff. So like when I went to the hospital, it was like this room. It's like I couldn't sleep. It was like a room, like it was like something was telling me to get up and go to the next room. Like I went to this man room and he was off. And he was off. So I was scared. He scared me. So I went back to my room and it was like the same thing. It was like trying to tell me to get up and go back in that room, but I couldn't. So I went in the hallway and I just sat there like. And every time I try to go to sleep in the hallway, he would come and I would like actually like really jump up because I know that you can tell who a good spirit and is a bad spirit. You feel me? So I couldn't sleep. So maybe like 2 days later, they put me in a room that I can't sleep, like a room that I'm supposed to be in, like. And the lady, she had a tattoo, a clown tattoo and stuff. So yeah, so I went home like a week later. I went home. Um, this time that the people got my kids, like my mom, they got my kids. Um, every time I used to see I got my kids taken from me because of I went to the hospital and whatever. So when I'm me, my kids, I used to like this another thing too. I used to sit